All right, my lovely people. My name is Jason. I'm a brand identity designer by profession. I'm also a podcaster. I've been doing podcasting since 2022, like Jan 2022. That's when I started it. It's almost been a year, a lovely and incredible year. This is my fourth season, and this is 92nd episode, which I'm doing about entrepreneurship. We call this series called as the dark side of entrepreneurship. Nothing really dark. Now, we speak about positive things. I wanted something catchy. I wanted something which will make people curious. That's why I stuck to it, and I've been doing this ever since. So, the aim of the show is to educate entrepreneurs about business, share ideas, recommend strategies on how to deal with adversities while running your business. The name of my podcast is Brand Identity Design. You may have guessed it's the same as my profession. If you need details about my podcast, click on the three dots. If you're on LinkedIn, you should be able to find my podcast, Brand Identity Design. It would have my picture on it, and that's how you discover the show. If you do find the subject matter we speak interesting, please do not hesitate to give it a follow. And yeah, that's about it. So let's actually get into this conversation. So I want to actually make a few announcements before we get into the topic. The first announcement which I want to make, I've been having a little challenge with the analytics. So what I have observed, many people who actually listen to my show on replay, they are actually using a browser to actually hear it. I would recommend, guys, that if you are listening to the episode, open this on the specific app. When I say app, like Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, whichever app you want to hear it, do not listen to it just under the URL, because it does not get registered to my analytics, and it becomes difficult for me to know who is listening from where. So I would encourage audience to listen to my show on the app. You don't necessarily have to download anything like other podcasters. If you like it, download it so that you can hear it offline, just in case. So moving on to the next thing, which I want to recommend, that I recently, not recently, but maybe a few weeks back, I did a podcast episode which speaks about podcast sponsorship. I did my twist. So if you guys are interested in a podcast kit which speaks into sponsorship, different kind of sponsorships, contracts, and documents which are involved, I would recommend you to buy the ultimate podcast sponsorship kit. It's only around $99. The details about this package is listed under the event comments. You should be able to find it. So let me not bore you guys. Let's get into this conversation right away. So we would be speaking about mastering the 34-minute mindset with Krystalore Crews, who is a USAF, United States Air Force veteran, and she is been a veteran for 21 years. She also has a nice understanding about wellness and emotional intelligence. She's also a coach, an entrepreneur herself. And Crystal will be sharing her expertise on how to master this 34-minute mindset. You will learn how daily 34-minute habit can transform your life, boost productivity, and improve your overall well-being. So I would highly encourage people to throw in some emojis and please welcome Crystal to the Brand Identity Design podcast. I wish I had a sound effect, Crystal. Welcome, welcome. So nice to have you here.
Woo! Thank you. Thank you for being here, everyone. Hello, hello.
Awesome, awesome. So nice to have you here. So, guys, give me a thumbs up if you can hear Crystal loud and clear. Give me a thumbs up. If you're able to hear Crystal. Okay. All right, all right, all right. Awesome. So sound check done. Okay, so we can hear Crystal. If you do guys have questions, please park your questions. I would be happy to bring you up when we start Q&A, which will be roughly in about 40 minutes or so. So Crystal, I am very curious to know, why do you call yourself as a people strategist? That's something very interesting. So would you mind helping us understand, what is a people strategist? What do you do?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is this, as an entrepreneur, you have to set yourself apart. And what I love to do is unpack different parts of my being, different parts of my identities, different roles that I play. And I've, over the last, 15 years probably, I've been on a search for different parts of myself. And I've been doing this work through emotional intelligence, through goal setting, through recognizing what my values are, what my communication style is, what my love language is, how I wish to communicate, how I wish to be communicated with. And it really takes a lot of intention and unpeeling the layers within ourselves. And so that is really what I've kind of come to recognize is as a people strategist, I love to unpeel these layers for other people and help them understand more pieces of themselves and fall in love with themselves. And so for me to set myself apart as an entrepreneur, I'm not just a fitness coach. I'm not just an entrepreneur. I'm a people strategist because I love to help people understand all parts of themselves because they bring all parts of themselves into each and every day, into everything that they do. And we can't hide some things anymore. So I love to kind of just get into the nitty gritty and help people move into their health and wellness space, into their business, into their relationships through understanding who they are as a person.
15 years is quite a long time which you spent actually trying to self discover yourself. I applaud you for doing that. Okay, so
That's
I
been a journey.
it's been quite a journey. So I've been getting this message from Val saying that he can't hear anything. So guys, if you're able to hear me, just give me a thumbs up. If you're able to hear me and Crystal, just give me a thumbs up again just to make sure the audio is okay. All right. So Val, I think it might be your phone. Just check your audio settings. If you're on Bluetooth or headphones, just make sure it's been connected properly. All right, so let's drill down this further, and I appreciate you sharing that, and I like the fact that you. I have a question which revolves around emotional intelligence, so we would decode that further. So let's get into this. So Crystal is a 21-year USAF veteran. She was also a former NFL cheerleader, which I so admire and like about you, Crystal. 26-time marathon fitness and emotional intelligence coach, and you did that 26 times. Unbelievable, unbelievable.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, and not only that, you're a motivational speaker, and author, and leadership consultant. And Crystal empowers others. Hashtag cruise beyond limits by sharing her experience from the military, about cancer, wheelchair bound struggle she had to experience in her days, and competitive professional athlete, dancer, and entrepreneur. So Crystal is a motivational speaker, author, coach, business consultant, a retreat leader on a mission to empower every person on this planet to put themselves and their health first just for 34 minutes a day. So incredible. So I'm really curious, Crystal, about this 34-minute mindset you have developed. So could you share with us, how did you discover this approach? Was that a guru or somebody who educated you about this approach? How did you find it? What inspired you to create it? And maybe you could explain my listeners briefly what this mindset involves and how it can benefit people who practice it.
Yes, absolutely. So, like you mentioned, I've been in the military for 21 years almost now, and I've traveled all over, and I've been through several different trainings, and many times we start really early. We start our day really early in the military. We get up early, we start early. Class starts maybe at 7 o'clock in the morning. And so what I found is that it doesn't allow for a lot of time to work out in the morning and much time to do much. And then afterwards, the camaraderie and the teamwork, everyone wants to break bread and go to dinner and have fun in the evening. So I found myself really my health taking a back seat. And so what I really found was I'm like, okay, how can I pack in just a really short period of time, a lot of things in a short period of time. And I used to do CrossFit and I love CrossFit. I love fitness. And I was like, okay, what can I do in a short period of time while I'm in a hotel room and just really no equipment, right? Traveling all over, bags are always packed. So I had to come up with a system that I can take anywhere with me, right? That didn't require me being in a gym or being going to a class and driving because I only had so many. We have 1,440 minutes in each day. So I was like, okay, what can I do? And so I designed this routine that required 30 minutes of movement. Now, my workouts, I teach high intensity interval training and kickboxing. So my workouts are 30 minutes, including warm up and cool down. So it's similar. It's like CrossFit meets Peloton, but it's way more fun. They're 30 minutes. Of course, I was an NFL cheerleader. So I bring my passion and my energy into the workouts to be able to energize. And so it amps me up every single morning. It gets me out of bed and allows me to just settle on 30 minutes a day at least of movement. And what I found is that so many times it's hard to even fit in 30 minutes, right? And so the 2 minutes in the morning, we start with gratitude and goal setting, and then we kind of map out our day so that we plan those 30 minutes in the day. And then at the end of each day, we spend an extra 2 minutes with reflection, recognizing our emotions and what maybe could have gotten in the way today and what we can do differently tomorrow. So the 34 minutes is 2 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes of movement somewhere throughout the day, and then 2 minutes of reflection and celebration at the end of each day. So I find that 34 minutes is really only 2% of your day. And so that is a lot more manageable than 3 hours at the gym or trying to drive somewhere and trying to really juggle all of the things that we have to do in each day. So that's where that came from, really, is just creating a system that I can take anywhere with me that is manageable. And I can feel really good about not only putting myself first, but my priorities are in check, my energy. I can pour into everyone else once I have this 34 minute mindset in check as my non-negotiable.
I didn't realize we had 1,440 minutes each day. So if I compare that with just 34 minutes, it makes absolute sense. Yes. And this is super cool. So you said 2 minutes of gratitude, 30 minutes of workout, and 2 minute reflection. And you did this out of necessity because you had like a tight schedule and you didn't had the equipments to do workout and take care of your health. And that's how you came up with this whole structure and methodology. How long have you been practicing this now?
Oh gosh. Officially, with all of the journaling in the morning and in the evening, it's been about probably 6 years
Wow.
since I transitioned. Yeah.
That
And
is incredible.
it's wild because, many of my clients are like, I choose to work with you because you are so consistent, right? And I've developed this system that is manageable so that I can stay consistent with my daily routine because I get really excited about a lot of things and I can dabble in a bunch of things and I love having just so many things on my plate. And so, really quickly, especially as entrepreneurs, our health and wellness can quickly take a back seat. And especially as parents, everyone else's priorities, your email list, everything else can really start to take a priority. And if we don't manage that and we don't put ourselves first, then it's quickly how we can burn out. And I've been there because there were times where I was burned out. I was starting my business about 6 years ago. In 2017, I transitioned off of active duty and I moved away. I moved away with my husband, and I literally didn't have a job for 6 months. No one would hire me. I moved away from everything I knew, my career, my friends, my family, and I went through a lot of heartache trying to find a job in a new city where I knew nobody. I had to take things off of my resume. I had doors closed. And so I got beat down a lot. And so I decided to start a business, an online business in 2017. And so there were a lot of things against me. And it took a lot of soul searching and a lot of rolling up my sleeves trying to figure out the virtual space before COVID, right? So I had to develop a system, an accountability system that I could feel really good about, that if I just did 30 minutes of movement and I started with gratitude and I just went back to my values, went back to who I am and what I'm put on this earth to do each and every day, I can feel really good about the small movements and the momentum that builds on each other each and every day. And so I've been doing that for 6 years, and that's what brings me to today. And I feel like I'm just beginning.
That is so powerful, and I really appreciate you giving us a little insight and backstory of how challenging it was for you to transition, find a new job, and I have been also personally in that spot, so I know how you felt. While we are, continuing with this conversation, I wanted to actually make a quick mention. So I wanted to personally thank LJ Haywood, whom you see down in the listener lounge. He is a great coach. He coached me with my podcasting gig. And thank you, LJ, for introducing me to Crystal. I also want to say thanks to the Pow Wow Club and the Veterans Club as well. These guys are these are amazing individuals. I learn a lot from them, and I want to deeply show my appreciation for what you do. So Crystal, I didn't mention this, but thank you so much for your service, and LJ, thank you so much for your service. If anybody who is a veteran out there, I want to personally thank you guys, because it takes a lot of courage to move away from career, family, and to get into something like contributing towards your country and sacrificing, doing all that stuff. It does have its own challenges. So I want to applaud and thank you folks with this. So I want to actually, deep down further, because you said something about emotional intelligence. And I don't know completely what is emotional intelligence, but, would you mind explaining it in a simplified way? How does first of all, what is emotional intelligence? Second, how does emotional intelligence impacts one's ability to fully engage and get the maximum out of this 34-minute routine? And and could you also help us understand if there is any specific emotional skills or qualities that particularly benefits to make this a success? If you get my question, if you were to use this approach.
Yes, absolutely. So, emotional intelligence is your ability to process your emotions, to make great decisions, to improve your relationships. Now, those relationships, many times we think those relationships are about everyone else. And many times, especially as servant leaders, as military members or entrepreneurs or parents or community leaders, we put other people first, right? And so, most importantly, emotional intelligence is getting to know yourself, not only the relationship with yourself, but utilizing those skills. And we build on those skills each and every day so that we can be better humans, so we can be better leaders, better coaches, better mentors, better community leaders, better supporters, better friends, better spouses, right? And so we're not meant to do this work alone. We're not meant to be on this earth alone. We are meant to be in community, and we are human beings, not human doings. And I love to say that because we are all human and we feel a range of a lot of different emotions each and every day. Studies show that we go through a range of over 400 different emotions in a day. So we can have high level emotions and lower level emotions. They're not good or bad. And many times the way that we talk to ourselves is really, really powerful. And many times we say things to ourselves that we would never say to a loved one, a friend, a spouse, family member, or even a child. And yet we beat ourselves up each and every day. And so, what emotional intelligence is stopping and pausing on those thoughts and recognizing the parts of your brain and how you're processing these emotions as a human. And the human experience starts with you. And the more you can do this work and understand your body language, how your thoughts and the triggers and maybe traumas and the emotions and the experiences that we've been through impact how we make a decision each and every day on how we speak, how we act, how we react, most importantly, to things and the people around us, so that we can have a positive experience and leave that lasting impression, leave that lasting legacy, and help others move through this as well. So emotional intelligence is kind of twofold. You have a personal experience of recognizing your own personal values, goals, where you want to go in life, who you are, how you process your emotions, what triggers you have, what experiences you have, and how you see the world. And then it's the social component of recognizing other people's emotions, other people's body language, and then the anatomy of the relationship that you have with not only yourself, but other people. So we can move through in a positive way. So we can reduce stress, we can reduce conflict, we can reduce anxiety, hopefully reduce depression and suicidal ideations. Like the way that we process this, we can connect with other humans and have a mutual experience with love and compassion and empathy and gratitude and just move through with just so much more health and just more humanity. I just think it sounds foo foo. It might sound like rainbows and butterflies, but it's a constant journey of self reflection. And I just really hope, and this is why the 34-minute mindset works, is that you start with yourself and then you move through the day with pouring into everyone and everything else that needs you and that you need to serve, and you put yourself for 30 minutes of movement, and then you end with yourself and that self reflection. So if you're going through this journey each and every day, this 34-minute mindset can help guide you to be a better human and be stronger and reflect on what happened today and what you can do differently tomorrow. And it's a constant journey. So we don't just arrive at everyone is just 100%, we are a master at emotional intelligence. No, I started this journey a long, long time ago, and I started learning more about myself and learning more about people and emotional intelligence and different strategies and different tips. And we try new things and we do hard things and we keep going so that we can be better than yesterday and improve. And we might fall, but we don't go back. We always lean forward. And we do this by constantly reflecting and engaging in that reflection each and every day. So I hope that I'm going to pause there. I know you asked a lot of questions, so I want to make sure that I'm on track.
Yeah, I like the fact that you clarified and help me understand what is emotional intelligence. I also like the fact that it's a combination of two things. One is personal experience, who you are, discovering and understanding who you are, and you also said that it's also about recognizing others' experience, respecting and valuing that. So there are a lot of things, which you unpack there. You also stated about 400 emotions which we have, could be high, could be low, which we go through. So, do you think there is any specific emotional skill set one would require to make the 34-minute approach a success, specifically based apart from being positive and being persistent with it?
Yes, so there's four main competencies or components to emotional intelligence. And the first one is self awareness. Self awareness is recognizing the emotions that you have, and not only, and also recognizing what your value sets are and where you're currently at. So, being honest with yourself, where you're at in your life, in your entrepreneurial journey, in your fitness journey, perhaps in your career, and then recognizing where you want to go and recognizing that there's a gap. So, goal setting is a part of the self awareness journey. And so, I truly believe that I think in with the 34-minute mindset, the goal setting is important and the value setting. So, recognizing what you want to achieve for that next level version of you. So maybe that's your next step in your business. Maybe that's the next step in your relationships, maybe with your spouse. Maybe that's wanting to be a motivational speaker. Maybe it's wanting to start that book. That next level version of you is going to require next level commitment, next level habits, and daily consistent habits to put you in that next level version of yourself. And so, this constant self awareness reflection is part of this 34-minute mindset, I think is really, really important because many times, if we don't sink in who we are, why we're put, what we're put on this earth to do, what our true unique gifts are, I think so many times we can reach out and we can just find shiny objects and try to be like other people and try to get more followers and try to just make more money. And we could be driven by so many different things that can just create more noise. And that self awareness brings a presence to the work that you do each and every day. So when things get hard, because it will, when life challenges us, because it will, when people trigger us, because they will, you are staying focused each and every day, and you are passionate in the pursuit of what is setting your soul on fire, and you know exactly what you're doing each and every day. I'm here in Cancun in my hotel room. I'm looking out at the beautiful ocean, all the beautiful colors. I designed this because I'm on a mission to travel the world and empower everyone on the planet to put themselves and their health first for 34 minutes a day. So I do this through being a guest right here, living my best life, right? I have taught 3 boot camp sessions this morning. That's why my voice is a little rough. Um, so I teach 30-minute sessions wherever I go in the world. I travel with a tripod, an iPad, and the internet, and a speaker. I had amazing clients here that are at this resort that I'm pouring into them, and they're from all over the world. And so I wake up with an excitement. And because I am so self aware and I am so passionate in this pursuit of my mission and my purpose and my God's given gifts, that nothing can stop me from continuing this purpose. And this is what I want for everyone. And this is why it starts with you and the self-awareness journey of really tapping in. You get to design the life that you desire. I have so many people that say, "Oh, Crystal, there you are on vacation again. There she is at another beach in a bikini again. Look at her. Must be nice." Yeah, it is nice because I designed it that way. And so here I am living the dream. It's not a dream, it's my reality. And so self awareness starts with you get to design your reality. And then we implement the 34-minute mindset into everything that we do, like your life depends on it. Because no one can argue with the passion and the drive that I have. And that's why I'm here on this stage with you because LJ is incredible. He has been encouraging me and nudging me for my own podcast too. Incredible humans, and we're not meant to do this alone. But if we didn't all have that purpose and that guiding light and that passion, that drive within us, we wouldn't be all in this room together.
I
So
agree
I'm
with
just
you
incredibly honored. I
100%
hope
on
this
that.
has helped.
Yes, absolutely. But I just want you to complete though. You said there were 4 things, self awareness being one. What are the other 3?
Yes, the second one, and I think the hardest one, is the self management. And this is what I work a lot on my clients with. So we start with goal setting, recognizing our emotions as they come into our world, into our being, into our nervous system. That's self awareness. Then we have the self management. That's how we manage our emotions. And that's where our filter is, or lack thereof. So that's where we recognize and we stop and pause and consider what's happening in our body before we act or react. And so this is the hardest part because that's where we manage our mind and that self talk and that inner critic that we each all have. So that's the second one, is the self-management. And that's how we also blow off steam. That's where we have skills that we build on for workouts or meditation or yoga or sleeping on problems. Like we don't act or react right away. I could go into hours. This is what I teach. I actually have an 8-hour course that I teach on emotional intelligence, and I dissect all 4 components. And we do an assessment so we can actually learn these skills and dissect each one individually. So the second component in the personal competence is the self-management component. The third is the social awareness. Social awareness is recognizing your body language and how you show up in the world, and then also seeing others and recognizing their emotions and their body language. And this is where empathy is born. So, this is where we can have empathy and compassion because we recognize how we process emotions and how we view the world and how we do this work to build on these skills. So, we can start to see it in others and be a role model and put ourselves in their shoes and say, hey, I may not completely understand what you're going through, but let me understand. And then we get curious and we start to build relationships when we can have empathy and start to see those social cues. And we understand that other people have an experience as well. They have a human experience. It's not all about us, right? So I help people develop empathy and compassion and understanding. I'm a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. So I build curriculum and I help teams develop through this work, through emotional intelligence, through the team building. And it is a foundation of emotional intelligence. And we create empathy and compassion for understanding so we can build on the relationships, which brings me to the fourth and final component of emotional intelligence, and that's in relationship management. So when we manage our relationships, we understand that there's different parts of relationships. I love to help people dissect the anatomy of the relationship, not only with themselves, but also with the people around them. So I have several different activities that help you understand the main people, the main characters in your life, and how you show up in their experience and how they show up in your experience and the roles that we play, and help to understand maybe where there's conflict, help to dissect where maybe there's some conflict or some needs analysis that needs to happen. And so that happens in the relationship component. So the main goal is to build on the relationships with yourself and with others, because we're not meant to do this life alone. So it's a constant reflection and understanding and unpeeling layers and stopping to like really slow down and prioritize and dissect and get curious about what is really happening in this human experience. And that's why I love to call myself a people strategist, because we really get granular. It gets ugly sometimes and it's not pretty, but this work is so beautiful on the other side as we continue to level up, as we continue to break barriers, as we continue to build on relationships and not shut people out of our lives completely. We actually get to have true, authentic, great conversations, powerful conversations that help us move forward. And we can just live a more healthier and happier life, because so many times toxic behaviors, toxic leadership, traumas and triggers, they manifest themselves in our heart and our being if we don't process them properly. And I see it each and every day. There's so much hurt, there's so much anger, there's so much resentment that we harbor in our hearts and in our beings, and we just hold on to them so tight. And this emotional intelligence helps us be present and understand what's happening so that we can move forward and live a more fulfilling life.
All right, all right. I like this self awareness, self management, social awareness, and relationship management. So, guys, I hope you documented this down and wrote this down, because that was very, very powerful. I liked your explanation, Crystal, and you have this profound way of saying things, speaking, and also explaining it. I love what you do, and I really think you have things spot on. Like you have figured this out, and I like what you are doing. I appreciate this very, very much, guys. In case if you are concerned, like I'm so sorry I didn't hear the whole thing. Do not worry. This is being recorded, and I would have it as a podcast episode in the next few hours on Spotify, Apple, whichever platform you like to listen to. You would be able to access that recording, re-listen to it. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to Crystal. She's amazing. And I have another question, Crystal. We've been speaking about this 34-minute whole thing. I want to actually focus on the 2-minute things, like gratitude, for an example. So, in your personal experience, what are some common obstacles that prevent people from practicing gratitude? And how can these individuals overcome these challenges? And I personally, I'm also an individual who is very positive overall in life, and I always think positive things, but it's not necessary that I practice gratitude on a daily basis. I might never do it and still be positive. Is there something wrong with me?
No, there's nothing wrong with you. It's totally normal, totally natural. And what we have to do is build our mental muscles. And so this is where the 34-minute mindset comes in, of recognizing the 2 minutes in the morning, getting your mental muscles ready and reared for the day. Because there's so much negativity out there. So many people start with scrolling their phone. They scroll and they find the news or they turn on the television, and there's just so much negativity out there, and it's so easy to get sucked in really, really quickly. Also, I talked about that gap, right? When in our goal setting of where we're at currently and where we want to be at that next level, that gap can create some comparison and some negativity and some resentment, right? Of like, I'm not quite there yet. And we can get stuck in this despair and in this negative loop of like, oh, woe is me, it'll never happen. I'm never going to be good enough. I'm never going to be skinny enough. I'm not going to be popular enough. I'm not going to have enough followers. I'm never going to have the friends that I need. I'm never going to get to those events. I'm never, like, we can easily, really quickly talk ourselves into something or out of something. And so, starting with gratitude, it really flips the script, and that dives into the self-management part of emotional intelligence. Is starting with a daily routine that puts your brain in a positive mindset, and then knowing that you have to start every day, you're building that mental muscle so that each day you have to say, okay, we need to hunt the good stuff because we know that tomorrow we're going to have to write it down and we're going to ask ourselves those questions. So we're saying, all right, let's focus, let's start to shift our perspective and say, what can I do? What can I be grateful for? Despite not being quite there yet, we're still working each and every day. But what can we be grateful for? I think in the introduction, you mentioned that I've run 26 marathons and a 50-mile race. There were some years that I ran 6, 7, 8 marathons in a year. And I'll tell you, there in the beginning of my running career, there I would get to the end of the race and I'd be like, no, game on. What's the next one? I didn't do it good enough. I want to improve my time. I just skip to the next one, start training again. And or I get to the end of the year and I would be so depleted. Even though I accomplished so much, I was always looking for that next thing, that next thing, that next thing, that next thing. Like, okay, what's next? I think I could do more. Right. And I didn't always stop to smell the roses. And I did that enough where I was like, ooh, no, I think I need to really stop and smell the roses. And so that's where the gratitude comes in. You might not be at your 100% yet, but you woke up today, right? And for some people, just being grateful that you're breathing, you're on this earth, that's enough. And when we can shape that perspective into that positive space to be like just present, like grounded, put your feet on the ground and just be happy and sit in gratitude of, I get to do this. But sometimes people get so caught up in the stress and the anxiety and the overwhelm and the everyone else that is just pulling at them, societal, friends, family members, pressure. There's so much pressure, my gosh, for you to keep moving and keep going. And so many times it's hard for people to sit and be present with themselves, especially if parents, as entrepreneurs, this go, go, go hustle mindset. Sometimes we can get to burnout. We get burned out real quickly if we don't stop and smell the roses and just be grateful for where we're at in the process, in the journey. We can't skip steps. So many times people want to compare themselves to other people and look at what everyone else is doing. When we do that, we waste the energy. Yes, we can look to maybe see like maybe what our competitors are doing so that we can help maybe build our skills or get creative, but we don't do it to create a gap. We create it to fuel us forward so we can be grateful in where we're at in the process. I love to have people that are further along than me in as mentors because they get to show me what's possible. But I don't say, "Whoa, is me, like I'm not as far along. I feel like I'm just starting and I'm never going to get there." That does not keep me in a space of gratitude. That's not going to help me create the priorities in my life and the habits that I need to do to move forward each and every day to get me to that next level. So those are the things that I kind of see show up is that people are in this kind of negative loop. that they don't think that they're good enough, don't think that they're worthy enough, or they just don't have the mental muscle. They haven't built the mental muscle and the habits to start each day with gratitude.
I love this. Build your mental muscle, guys. Build your mental muscle, and don't compare yourself, and you should not skip steps. So what I understand from your explanation, Crystal, is that it's okay if you don't like actually practice gratitude, but if you have like a positive approach to things, and if you have this learning mindset, and if you are not comparing yourself, and you're always looking for things which will benefit you. So as long as you do that, that's still cool, right? That's what I'm guessing from what you just said. There's no problem, right? I'm still okay.
No,
No.
no,
No.
not at all. And if you can flip the script, right? And so the whole point is to shorten the time period of that self-doubt, right? That's my goal, is to help you shorten that time period. And it's a skill that we have to continue to build. So you might need to create like some systems. Maybe you'll push your hand on your heart. If you start to feel that negative spiral or that comparison, like center yourself, put both feet on the ground, look down at your feet. You're currently here. You're right here where you're at right now, right? You're not anywhere else. So put your hand on your heart and just say, I'm here, I'm worthy, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm capable. And that can put us in a different part of our brain that can help us like literally get curious and then take action. So this can happen anytime throughout the day. So whether you just place your hand on your heart, put your feet down on the floor, look down at your feet, and just be present with yourself. That can check yourself real quick.
Awesome. I was struggling to find the mute button. Thank you so much for sharing that, Crystal. All right, so let's actually take a quick break so that I can have a sip of water. Crystal, you also can do that. And I have two other questions which I like to ask you after the break. And guys, if you are interested in coming up on this virtual stage on LinkedIn and ask questions to Crystal, feel free to do that. Now is the time. I would let people come on stage, and we will start with Q&A after I finish my questions. Okay, so let's do a sponsor shout out.
Do you want to find out how your neurology works? Do you want to understand why you do what you do? Then it's really simple. Just check out yourlifeliveit.com, and there you'll find lots of different ways for you to be able to learn more about you, why you do the things you do, and more importantly, how to change those in a really quick, effective way. We call it unthinkable change. The change that you'll experience with neural coding is fast and it lasts. Don't wait anymore. You get 86,400 seconds every day. Once it's gone, it's gone. We are committed and passionate about helping people create unthinkable change in their lives. We've been doing this since 2008 and literally changed over 41,000 problems, deleted them from the neurology, and then installed a solution that works best for the client. Whether you want to work one-on-one or take one of our award-winning neural coding online courses, take action today. The costs of not doing that are just more days wasted. So connect with us. We're here to help. We're here to help you create unthinkable change that's fast and it lasts. It's your life. Live it.
So that's Dr. Amanda, who was on my show last season. Please visit her website. She is a professional when it comes to neural coding experience. I have done an entire episode. We get into and speak about this in detail. I would highly recommend you to go through the event comments, and you should be able to find her website, yourlifeliveit.com. Please reach out to her. Do a discovery call. I can promise you it's going to be amazing. So let's dive back into this conversation, and just in case, guys, if you're wondering how to go about being a part of this virtual stage, there is a hand raise button. If you are on your cell phone on LinkedIn, just raise your hand and I should be able to bring you up along with my other good friends who are on this stage, so that we can do Q&A. So my next question to you, Crystal, before we start Q&A with our other speakers who joined us on stage, is about self-reflection. So could you help us understand what is self-reflection? How should you go about doing self-reflection? What is the right way of doing it?
Well, first of all, I want to say that there really is no right or wrong way to do it. So I think what's most important is that you can start self-reflection just by your thoughts. I offered a couple techniques earlier, placing your hand on your heart, putting your feet down. You can just be present with yourself and self-reflect. Get curious and ask yourself the honest questions, right? So that can be a way to just slow down and self-reflect each and every day. Some people use prayer, some people use meditation, yoga, running, whatever that is to you. You get to decide, you get to decide how you do it. Now, I've developed a couple tools that I'd love to share with you as well. So I developed a habit tracker. So I actually write down each and every day my daily non-negotiables, the things that I want to improve. So this is part of the self-reflection activity. There are studies that show that when your thoughts ruminate in your head and then you get them out onto a pen, onto the page, they're more likely to actually occur. Okay, so especially as entrepreneurs, I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs, and I've experienced this myself of what I call spaghetti brain, when the thoughts just kind of go in your brain and they don't come out of your mouth or onto the page, onto a pen, or on a keyboard. They stay in your head and they just kind of cycle around in there, and then it's like spaghetti. And then sometimes we just kind of like throw spaghetti at a wall and see what works, right? So I developed this habit tracker to determine what a good day looks like, and I get to write a contract with myself each and every day. So I track a couple things. I'll just share a couple with you real quick. One of them is not hitting the snooze button, doing a morning workout, journaling and intentions, meditation, reading for 10 minutes. So just 10 minutes. I do three lead generating activities for my business. I have a present moment with my husband. I declutter one thing each and every day, and then I go to bed by 10. So that's kind of how I structure what if I do anything else, like those are my checkpoints throughout the day. So that's my daily reflection activity. And I have a habit tracker. It's a free habit tracker. If anybody wants access to that, I'd be happy to send it to you. Just send me a message. I'll share the link. It's a downloadable, and it allows you to fill out your daily non-negotiables. And I said about 10 of them, but maybe you just have two things that, like, okay, if I did these two things today, it could be a great day, right? And I accomplished something, and we get to check it off each day. And that's part of that reflection, because especially when we're going after big, audacious, bodacious goals, we sometimes don't give ourselves credit for the things that we are doing, the things that we are accomplishing. And it's the little things that add up. So I developed this habit tracker, and then I also published a book. It's your crystal clear life planner. It's a 90-day action plan to embrace chaos and live a fulfilling life. So it really maps out this 34-minute mindset, and it gives you daily prompts in the morning and in the evening. And then we do weekly intentions, weekly reflections, monthly intentions, and monthly reflections. So it's a really great system for you to take a pen to the page and really have this honest contract and this honest conversation with yourself each and every day. And what I find is that the brain, especially with emotional intelligence and your self-management, your brain keeps track. It's like a little ticker. Your brain keeps track each and every day of the times that you show up for yourself. And so when you start with gratitude and goal setting and time blocking, and you set that appointment with yourself of even that 30-minute workout, right? And then the brain actually does, your body actually accomplishes it, and you check it off at the end of the day. You celebrate yourself. The brain keeps track. It's like a ticker. And that's what creates the momentum, the confidence, and the trust in yourself. And that trust in oneself is so beautiful. It's so hard to develop. So many times we want to trust other people, but we don't really trust ourselves. That's why we have so many fad diets, yo-yo diets, going on and off, routines. That's why creating this 34-minute mindset in anything that you're doing, you're creating a structure and a system with checkpoints. So your brain is keeping track. Your body and your nervous system is in a routine that keeps track of the times that you're showing up for yourself. Because what happens is the brain also keeps track of the times that you cancel on yourself. And this is where that harsh inner critic comes in, and that negative Nancy, that self-saboteur, like all the self-sabotage comes in. And then we're like, oh, well, we might as well eat the cake. We might as well not work out today. We're just too tired. It's no wonder why we shouldn't have started that, because we weren't that good enough anyways. We're not going to stick to a routine. Oh, that self-sabotage, it just runs our life. And so these tools, I think, are really important. If you haven't done any tracking before, it can be a little daunting. It can feel a little woo-woo. It might feel a little awkward. I'll tell you, when I first started, I had a coach that said, you have to journal. Get out a blank journal. Like, if you don't use a tool with prompts, just get out a blank piece of paper. Card. Maybe it's a napkin. Just write down what's on your heart and your mind. And you might be surprised what actually comes out. And I'll tell you, when it comes out of your mouth, when it comes out of your mouth, when it comes out of your mind and onto that page, it is real. And it makes it more real. I'll tell you, I would not be here in Cancun on this podcast right now if I didn't say to the world, I want to be a motivational speaker someday. I want to change the world. I want to help empower people put themselves and their health first for 34 minutes a day. I said it out loud. It was no longer ruminating in my mind. And so each and every day, the habits, I'm building this mental muscle, and I'm checking things off each and every day, one day at a time, one check mark at a time, one step at a time. So I don't just arrive here on stage. I've built this, I've planned it, I've designed, and I've worked every single day to build the mental muscle, to build the skills, so that I could build the confidence to say, yes, I'm on a mission to empower everyone on the planet to put themselves first for 34 minutes a day, to reduce the stress and overwhelm of life and live a more fulfilling life. And yes, I have a lot of energy. And yes, I'm passionate. I don't apologize for it anymore. I used to. I used to let everyone else's opinions shackle me. I never went after my dreams, and I sat on them and I slept on them for well too long. And so you get to design it. And so having these tools and getting up and just saying, being present in the moments of your dreams and goals, make them a reality. Put them out on paper, track your progress, and tell other people, share it with the world, shout it from the rooftops unapologetically, because the world needs you at 100%. The world needs you, and you're living in your unique gifts. I'm here shouting from the rooftops with no script, no fancy studio. I'm looking at the ocean right here in this hotel room. There's no other place I'd rather be than right here with you. So find what works for you. That's my answer.
That was so incredible. Thank you so much, Crystal, for sharing that. And I truly believe that yes, you are gifted, and like yourself, many others, we all have our true, unique gift. You need to embrace those gifts, make the best out of it, and do not apologize for being unique, and having those gifts. So I love this. I love this. And you are at a beach, and I'm sitting inside my 3-floor house. It's cramped up, humid, sitting next to this table fan. So enjoying and being witnessing this moment next to you. So so lovely to have you here. So let's actually start with Q&A. And I have some incredible people who on stage, Wade and Leslie, lovely friends of mine. We had somebody else also who joined the conversation. I can't see her now. But if you're out there, if you'd like to come up, feel free. I would be starting Q&A right now. So Wade, how are you? And do you have a question or a comment?
A little bit of both. Hello, Jason, and hello, Crystal. This has been such a fantastic episode. Actually, my question is kind of went off of one of your last question. So I don't know whether Crystal can really expand on it or not. I'm curious as far as with her habit tracker, when you're tracking or when you're talking about identifying the granular levels, whether it be with a corporation or individually, how do you break down with your clients how emotional intelligence impacts their mindsets and their proficiencies?
How do I break it down? I'm unsure of the question. I'm sorry. If you can just clarify a little bit.
I'm just trying to wonder as far or get out as far as how you're breaking down with them, whether it's a corporation or whether it's individually, as far as their emotional intelligences, um, how their mindsets are affecting their proficiencies and their activities as far as the jobs that they're doing during the day. Whether it's a project, whether it's just a corporate goal, so forth.
Okay, great. Thank you for that clarification. I just want to make sure I'm hitting the right answer here for you. So I think the biggest thing here is that our we all have purpose, and we have to find our purpose, our unique purpose. Now, we may be working in a job. So you spoke about corporations, right? So people have roles in a corporation. And each company should have a set vision, a set mission, a set of values, right? And each person should have a role that aligns with each of those values, that aligns with that mission, that aligns with that bigger purpose, that bigger vision. And I think what I love to, being in the military for the last 21 years, we have a set of core values, right? In the Air Force, it's integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do, right? And the mission is to fly that aircraft, right? Wherever you're at. So everyone has a role in that. So everyone is working towards that common goal. So with emotional intelligence and with relationships, it's the same thing. Whether you're in a company or you're in a partnership with a business, maybe business partners or a team, you have a shared common goal. Or maybe in your household, you all have one shared common goal. You have a bond to keep those relationships going. So we start with the end in mind, right? And so I think if everyone can wrap their head around what role they play in that end game, start there, and then we backwards plan. And then we create a set of milestones and roles and separate different activities and where people can live in their strengths and recognize maybe some opportunities for growth, maybe some blind spots that they may have, to be able to work together to make that mission or drive that purpose or reach that next level together. And so, really, it's recognizing that it's bigger than you. And so many people that are stuck in the blame and the shame and the overwhelm and the guilt and the negativity and the toxic leadership and all of that, it's typically they're focused on them. It's an inner it's an inner problem. I don't want to say it's a problem that needs to be solved. And so utilizing emotional intelligence and having them look in the mirror and say, what role am I playing in the other people's human experience? When you enter a room, your energy arrives before you do. Everyone that meets me, they're like, Crystal, you have this light, you have this energy to you. I don't know what it is, but I met a guy last night in the hotel lobby. He said, "You're a freak of nature." And I'm like, "Thank you. That is the best compliment anyone can give me. Thank you so much." Because your energy and your passion arrives before you do. But also, that negative energy can arrive before you too. You do, and people feel it. So, walking through a doorstep, walking into a party, walking into a new situation, walking up on stage, coming into a networking event, coming on stage here. What is the impact and what is the end game? And what is the legacy and what is the lasting impression that you want to leave? And that's how I like to help clients and teams understand that it's bigger than them. And it's the impact and it's the ripple effect of them showing up powerfully and knowing who they are unapologetically, having that confidence without the ego, and understanding that everyone is having a human experience and that we don't all have to have it all together. We don't all have to know it all, but we all have to start with the end in mind and work together to get there. I hope that answers your question, Wade. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. Actually, what I meant to say or ask as far as why, and you did answer that. So thank you so much. As far as I love how attaining these goals with your habit tracker helps make everybody accountable and motivates them. So thank you so much. Greatly appreciate the show today as far as all your input, and I would love to get that habit tracker that you said that you can pass out. Be greatly appreciated. Have a great day and all the best.
Absolutely. Thanks, Wade. I just connected with you. Let's definitely set a conversation. Be happy to chat with you after.
Thanks
Awesome.
again.
Awesome. Wait, do you have a follow-up question? Anything else you'd like to ask before we move on to Leslie?
No, I already covered it everything. So thanks so much.
Perfect. Leslie, how are you? And so nice to have you on stage once again. And Leslie is a very close friend of mine, Crystal. She's into the wellness game. She is very, very OG and authentic in the functional realm. So I like you to meet Leslie. And Leslie, this is Crystal. And you've been hearing, about her because we spoke offline, right? So I hope you liked what you heard from Crystal so far. Go ahead. Leslie, do you have a question for Crystal or
Thank
do you have a
you.
comment?
Oh, no, I'll make it short and sweet to let everyone else ask questions. It's a beautiful thing to be in line with people that when we find our purpose and our passion and our voices, we were all here for a reason on this planet and the messengers in us. And we are truly overachievers, but when we have that beautiful energy behind us, empowering others. And what you said, bringing your subconscious to your conscious mind. I do a lot of tracking with corporations and clients when it comes to stressors, emotional stressors at home, at work, what we're eating, and how that affects our mental and optimal performance and physical health. So it's really cool to listen to you today and all that you are doing to help people. And once you find that, you elevate yourself to another level of drawing in that positive energy and surrounding people like that around you. And you definitely have that gift from God, and you have that gift, and you're doing so many awesome things. So I want to thank you, Crystal, for being you and all that you're doing. And Jason, thanks, because it was through Clubhouse that we met, and we're going through an amazing journey, and we're figuring out and finding out what our purpose is in this life that we're living. So thank you all.
Oh, thank you so much, Leslie. It's so great to meet you. I'd love to connect with you afterwards. And you're right, the nutrition is so key. The way that we move our body, the way that we fuel our body. I find that so many women that I work with are not eating enough. They're starving themselves and they wonder why they lack energy. And so when the way that I use the habit tracker and we collect data, and it might seem overwhelming at first, but if we use this habit tracker just to see and be honest with ourselves with this reflection, I have programs that literally help my clients track their progress for at least 2 weeks. So we before we go for that fad diet, before you go to keto, no, like no fad diets. Let's create a long-term lifestyle that you can understand what a good portion size looks like, that you can have a really great relationship with food, and recognizing how our emotions and our gut and our reactions all play a role in the relationships, in your career, in your life. And it's not a one size fits all. It's not a let's check our feelings at the door to go to work and then, forget about family life. It's all intertwined. What you ate 3 days ago is going to impact how you show up on stage today. And if we don't track it and if we don't look at and we don't take an honest reflection of what's going on in our mind, in our body, in our stressors, in our external environment. I travel all over the world. My bags are always packed, always on an airplane, always around germs. I don't even have a car anymore. I fly everywhere. I turned in my car February of last year. So I don't have a regular routine. My regular routine is my daily non-negotiables of fitness, nutrition, mindset, sleep, rest, recovery, repeat, no matter what. So no matter where I'm at in the world, no matter what stage I'm on, no matter what training I'm doing, whether I'm working for the military, working as a consultant, as a fitness coach, as a speaker, as an author, I'm about to go to Costa Rica to host a retreat. My daily non-negotiables are in check because I know that everyone who needs me at 100% today, I'm literally about to go to the back to the resort and recruit people to come to my workouts tomorrow. I got to be on point. So I need to make sure that my nutrition is in check, that my sleep, my recovery, my stretching routine, my meditation routine, everything is in check so I can be at 100%. And it's all intertwined. It is not in silos. So Leslie, I just thank you so much for that reflection and for what you're doing. Do you have any other follow-ups?
I just want to thank you for what you're doing. And it's interesting because I track and assess people for 5 days, their food and the emotions that they're feeling. And also, it's going to sound really silly to everybody, but tracking if you're drinking enough water. And it's called, as a practitioner, a food, mood, poop journal. So people don't even realize that they might be so compromised when it comes to their gut health. So all these things, like you said, come into play. And I take it a little bit further when I talk about what you're ingesting, what you're breathing, what toxins are you putting on your skin that could be wreaking havoc, causing autoimmune illness, which is on the rise. So there's so many beautiful caveats to our this vessel that we're in, trying to really optimize for lifestyle, but long-term lifestyle changes. So thank you. I really appreciate.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Leslie.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Leslie.
being
Let's
here.
say high five and hi and send love to Leslie. And let's say hi to LJ Haywood, my very good friend, the person, the reason why I'm here and doing what I enjoy doing. So, LJ, thank you so much for being on stage. Do you have a question for Crystal, or do you have a comment you'd like to make?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear me that well, but I will say I usually don't because I'm busy during this time of day. I usually don't get the chance to join your show, and I'm excited to see that. One from the moment I met Jason, this guy was a natural. He has that Indian accent, so I think that's why I like his show. Sounds like it sounds like he's like words of wisdom. But anyways, back to the subject at hand. One of the things that you said earlier, Crystalore, that I thought was very interesting, and it's interesting when you start telling people about your goals and dreams. It tends to, for people that don't actually think in this context, it sounds like you're bragging. Like about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I was telling people like, "Yo, I'm gonna be an international connector of people." And world traveler, international speaker, yada yada. And then like I just had this trip to Honolulu like a couple weeks ago, and I was so excited because I was like, wow, like I kind of set my intention. I was doing all the work. I had a knee injury with service related with the military like 10 years ago, and so I wasn't able to do a lot of the things that I'm able to do now because I hired a personal trainer. So like all of the things that I'm like doing physically, I'm just so excited. And just to your point, like I went shark diving while I was in Honolulu. This shit was great. So but you don't just do things. Like you have to like set the intention, especially when you are kind of going negative because of the injuries and things like that. And the reason why I bring all that up is because a lot of times, yes, seconds turn into minutes and minutes turn into hours. So yes, it may seem like 30 minutes, 2 minutes thinking about and reflecting isn't a big deal, but think about the amount of people that aren't doing that. And then you've got, you know, those minutes turn into hours eventually, which turn into days, And then the weeks and the consistency of thinking in these terms. So, I'm just really excited for what you're doing, because you're on this trip, but a lot of times people think like, oh, well, you're out there flossing, you got the big trip, blah, blah, blah. But the work that has to go into that, the mental preparation, is what, I applaud you for, and so I wanted to speak to that, because earlier when you brought that up, I was like, I wonder if people misinterpret what's going on here, but that's how I interpreted it.
Thank you so much, LJ, for that. It's so important. And so let's go over real quick the definition of bragging, or at least my definition of bragging, because I had to do a lot of work around this, because I have all the naysayers that are like, must be nice. You got this perfect life, perfect husband, perfect body. You must have it all together. You're so lucky. There she is, getting another award again. There she is, posting on Instagram again. Who does she think she is? Da 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 da. Right. So those are other people's opinions and other people's perceptions that really have nothing to do with me. And so I had to look up the definition of bragging. So I'd love to share that with you. And hopefully this can give you some permission to move forward in your dreams and goals in your life. The definition of bragging is, in my own words, celebrating yourself and putting someone else down in the same sentence. So if you're not doing that, then you are certainly not bragging. And I think so many times we live in this culture where it has to be hard, or it has to be a certain way, or we have to live life in series of steps, and it has to look a certain way. We have to go to college, we have to get married, we have to have babies, and like there's all these things that we have to do or should do in our life, or else we're not successful, quote unquote. But if you get to live the life that you desire and say, hey, what can I do to serve my bigger purpose, to help people to move forward and live my best life? I spent 6 months in a wheelchair in 2005 at the depths of despair, not even thinking I could walk again, let alone run marathons, let alone coach people. So I built the daily mental muscle to move forward, get off of that medication, get out of that toxic relationship that I was in. And my mission is to help empower people to put themselves first and their health first so they don't burn out, to reduce the stress and overwhelm, and recognize that they can get back up again. They can start. Thank you, LJ, for sharing your story, your resilient story of your injury, and having so much grace and love and understanding with where you're at in your journey, and being able to achieve things again and feel the energy, and being able to move your body and do things and explore and be an international connector, which heck yes, you are. It's amazing, right? And I just think it's so beautiful, because we don't just all arrive at success. Like, it's daily activities, it's daily action. And so part of that is the celebration. Not only for yourself, you sink it into your own being, your own nervous system, to say, yes, I did something today that I could not do yesterday. Why not get to celebrate that? And because I do that, I can tell you how many people, when I started sharing my story, because it was in the middle of my NFL career that I landed in a wheelchair for 6 months. I couldn't even put my feet on the ground to get out of bed. I had to fall out of bed to crawl. And it took me about 20 minutes to be able to get up on my feet. I was in so much pain. I could barely put one foot in front of the other, let alone run marathons. So each and every day I had to build, I had to celebrate, I had to sink in the daily moves that I was making to be stronger than yesterday. And when I started sharing that story, I can tell you how many people came out of the woodworks and say, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for celebrating that. Thank you for sharing that part of your journey, because it gives me hope to get back up again. It gives me hope to have that voice again with my doctor and say, no, hang on, there could be something else here. I can move my body. I can get back up again. What can I do right now with what I've got? And so celebration is so important, especially being a leader, putting yourself in that role model mindset of being able to share your gifts and say, hey, this is how far I've come. Maybe it's just one step at a time. I made it, and I'm here to tell the story. You've made it through 100% of all the hard things that you've done. You get to celebrate that. So sorry I went off on a rant, but that is just something I've really had to work hard at because, yes, I get to travel the world and be in the Caribbean and be on a beach and get to do the work that I love to do because I designed it that way. And I worked each and every day to get me that just that much closer. Now, I live in Louisville, Kentucky, and each and every day in my planner, I write, I am going to live 10 steps from the ocean. And every time I travel to the ocean, I practice those 10 steps. And everyone who sees my stories, they see those 10 steps on my stories, my Instagram stories. They watch my feet walk those 10 steps. I don't live on a beach right now. I live in Louisville, Kentucky. So that's why I travel to different beaches and do as much as I can to be in beautiful places because that's what I love. And I get to bring them all together. And I practice those 10 steps. So when I'm retired, when my husband retires, we're going to live on the beach 10 steps from the ocean. It will happen one day. And I've practiced those 10 steps so many times, just like I practice the finish line of every single 26 marathons that I finished. I practice those day after day after day, and I put myself in that place so that when it happens, because it will, I'm going to be like, of course, because I designed it that way. And I get to celebrate the heck out of that. So I hope that helps as someone here, give you permission to go after your dreams and goals and just keep celebrating.
Well said. Well said. Hey, by the way, for those of you guys that don't know Jason, you got to follow this guy, man. He's really impressive cat. Coming from Mumbai, India, been able to connect with people internationally. A lot of you guys don't know that. You know, he put this whole show together, put in the work. I told him to get his first 10 episodes done. He got those done in less than a couple, or like in 1 week, and he's been rocking and rolling ever since. So I'm telling you, this guy is gonna be really famous. He's crushing it over in India as far as the podcast game goes on Spotify. So I endorse him whenever I get a chance to because, man, I would love this dude. You know, my military background is I love to mentor and coach and teach people. That's what I get paid to do on a daily basis. And this guy is such a humble, teachable, coachable person. And man, love this dude. So anyhow, done speaking, man.
Thank you, LJ. I sincerely appreciate that very much. You are a great person to learn from. I highly encourage people who want to get into the podcasting game to reach out to LJ because he's gonna direct you to the right spot, right place with your podcasting game. Irrespective whichever country you are from, he should be able to guide you and help you out. So on that note, we want to do something interesting now since we are coming to the close, the 90-minute mark. I want to quickly ask you some funny questions, Crystal, so that we can keep the conversation light. So, okay, my first funny question, which I like to ask you, is that if you could choose any celebrity to be your self-reflection buddy, whom would you choose and why? Okay, you might be on mute, Crystal. Are you there?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I was. I apologize. Okay. Which celebrity would I choose and why? Oh gosh, this one's tough. Um, I love Tommy Boy. So I know the late Chris Farley. He is just an incredible, beautiful soul. He has brought so much humor to my world, and I think he would be really fun to hang out with. So I think he'd be really fun to talk to and just bring light and bring more fun into the world. So I love humor. And so any chance I get, I want a self reflection buddy that's going to make me laugh.
Lovely, lovely. Late Chris Farley, I agree with you. Yeah, he is a great person. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, next question. This question is related to cheerleading. Okay, so if cheerleaders practice gratitude, okay, hear me out. If cheerleaders practice gratitude, what would be their chant? How would that sound like? And you've been a cheerleader, so if you had to do this, like, what would you do?
Okay. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is be aggressive. I help a lot of women, and I help them with their boundaries. So I will just say, first of all, be aggressive. And then, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yes, I will. Yes, I can. Yes, I will. Be aggressive. Watch me. So that's not, it doesn't rhyme. If I had more time, I would definitely do that. But just go. Just go. That's all I have to say.
That is lovely.
Go for it.
That is lovely. I'm glad that you were able to make this up within this short period of time. Do you do yoga by any chance, Crystal? Do you practice yoga?
So I actually, I do sometimes. I really love hot yoga and power yoga. I love a very intense workout. And my brain is really on fire all the time. So I love a good challenging yoga session. I do a lot of stretch and meditation in my practice, in my daily practice. But if I go to a yoga class, I really want a good power yoga.
Lovely, lovely. So let's actually focus on yoga for a second and let's speak about specifically a pose. What's your favorite pose? And can you describe it using only animal sounds?
Okay. Meow. Moo. Meow. Moo. Meow. Moo. How's that one?
Yeah,
Can
that's
anyone
good.
guess?
That's good. I have no idea what pose this was. Okay, can you tell us about this
It's
pose?
cat cow.
Cat cow.
Cat cow. It helps your spine. It helps improve your spine and your lower back, and it really helps just with posture and your core and everything. It's really great.
Awesome, awesome. I have one common question for everyone on stage. Okay, now let's start with Wade. Okay, so Wade, if you had 34 minutes left to live, what would you do with that time?
Oh wow. Hmm. There's so many different things you could do, but depending on where you're at, I'm down in Niagara in Ontario, Canada, and the water is just finished freezing. Or just thawing now, so I would normally say run and jump in the lake and just enjoy myself, but right now you can't do that. So I'd probably want to just jump in a car and go riding, ride the motorcycle, whatever. Just to enjoy life as best you can for that last 30 minutes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. What about you, Leslie? If you had 34 minutes to live, what would you do with it?
I am definitely into the wonders of the world. So I am fascinated and want to know how the pyramids were built. How's that? I travel. I've been to Egypt and Israel and all over the world, and have literally been crawling through the chamber of the Great Pyramids before the massive earthquake that they had, that they didn't prior to that for 100 years. So I was in those chambers, and the next day they had an earthquake in Cairo and all over. I would say I want to sit down with whomever built these pyramids and figure out how they did it.
Awesome, awesome. I love that. Thank you so much, Leslie. I don't know how you're going to do that, but in 34 minutes, that would require a lot of research. So, thank you so much for sharing that. Let's hear from LJ. LJ, if you had 34 minutes to live, that's what is left. What would you do with it?
Yo, by the way, I was like, yo, that's a great question, man. I think that Crystalore might want to, jot that one down for her podcast when we work on her project. But anyhow, legacy is so important to me. I've learned so many things that I was never taught as a child. So at first I thought about my grandmother. First thing that came to my mind was my grandmother, and I got kind of like emotional. And then I thought about my fiance, and I don't have any kids, so it's very interesting. So like, it's not about what I want to do, but like who I want to spend that time with. And if I was sitting if I had 34 minutes, it would be in a room with my sisters, my fiance, my grandmother, and then my nieces and my nephews, and I would focus my dialogue with my nieces, my nephews, and kind of just pass some words of wisdom on to them, things to look out for, because that's what that's so important to me. So yeah, man, that's a really great question. I had never thought of it in those terms. So well done, Jay.
Thank you so much for that, LJ. And Crystal, if you were to, if I were to ask you the same question, and I know you might lean on to the 34-minute routine, but for a change, let's say that for a change, if
He's
you
gonna
had
start
30,
working out.
I know. I'll get one last workout. I actually have a 5-minute workout, by the way. If you have 5 minutes, I would probably do that if I'm healthy enough. Um, I would definitely practice gratitude. I would take 2 minutes of that and just practice gratitude for the life that I did live. And then I too, LJ, like I have a stepdaughter who's 12, and then I have two beautiful nieces that are 7 and 11. And I would bring them into a room for sure. I would want them there with me and just pour into them as much as possible to leave that legacy, because the future is in our children. It's in their mindset. It's in their dreams, their goals, their aspirations, because we have one shot at this life. And so finishing strong with imparting some value and some wisdom, to help continue that message, I think is so powerful. So that's where I would want to finish.
And
that is.
nobody's stopping us from doing that, Jason, Crystal. So you might want to, think about this with the kiddos. Anyhow.
Lovely, lovely, Crystal. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's actually hear from you about the business side of things now, okay? Because I want to give you enough time to promote your business. Now, I do remember that you did DM me the link, okay, to the HIIT thing. I don't remember exactly what it is. The virtual, right? Virtual exercise thing.
Yes, I actually have. So I have 30-minute hit and kickboxing sessions. So I stream for men and women all over the world. So they're 30-minute hit and kickboxing sessions, all levels. I have women in my program in their 70s. I have one woman that does it from a wheelchair. So don't discount yourself before you start. There's definitely all levels, all fitness levels, and ways to modify to keep moving for those 30 minutes, no matter what. But if you go to crystalorecrews.com, you can find all of my programs, different events, things that are coming up, my retreat, my book, the habit tracker, all the things. I do monthly ab challenges. But the fitness program, I shared that link. I think you shared that in the comments too. So if anything speaks to you, I'd be happy to just have a conversation and see what would work best for you. And let's just have a conversation about your goals and we'll go from there.
Awesome, awesome. So please reach out to Crystal. So I have actually posted two links. One is the virtual HIIT camp offer, which has a beautiful Crystal's image attached to it to make it easy for you to find it. So it's crystalorecrews.com/cruise beyond limit group fitness. You'll have the URL under the event comments or the show description. Other than that, if you want to generally just visit her website, feel free to do that. I also have her LinkedIn profile and her Instagram profile. Please follow Crystal because she's an amazing person, very inspiring, and I have learned so much within this 90-minute session. And I promise you, I'm gonna make an attempt to do this 34-minute thing, and I would reach out to you for Crystal for sure, and tell you, what difference do I see by applying this. So yeah, yeah. So I wanted to share that. Now, if you had to actually leave our audience, our listeners, with one thing they can take away from this whole conversation, what would that be?
I think the world is it's yours to take, it's yours to go after, and it starts with you. So spending those 34 minutes a day on yourself and your health and your goals and your aspirations and your dreams, start there and recognize it starts with you, but we don't have to do this life alone. We're not meant to be put on this life alone. So get in community, get coached, ask for help, get mentored. This is a beautiful experience right here on the stage of mentorship and showing others what's possible, and staying in community and connecting with others and helping each other go after our dreams and goals. It's so beautiful. And so just keep doing that. And if you're in a circle and you're in a season of change right now, just reach out, even just stop that cycle. Stop that cycle, reach out, ask for help. It might be the very powerful thing, that one thing that fuels you forward. And I'm complete.
Absolutely, absolutely. I wanted to actually keep you guys updated on the next week's event that's going to happen on April 26th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be interviewing a very amazing individual similar to Crystal, but her name is Phyllis. And we would be speaking about using two-word branding to hook your audience. I know from the title it may be a little confusing, but I would highly encourage you to read the description of the event. You would get more details as to what we are referring to. We are referring to personal brand, professional brand. We're going to be speaking about branding in general, and she has a very unique perspective on this, how two words can make a lot of difference in the way how you see your business and your personal brand. So the event details are actually listed under the event comments. If you're not able to find that, go into my profile on LinkedIn. You should be able to find this detail under the featured section of my podcast. So on that note, I wanted to personally thank Crystal and everyone else who I see on stage, Wade, Leslie, LJ, and all my incredible 29 listeners who were actually able to stay this far in this conversation. Thank you so much, guys. I love you all. Please take care of yourself. Have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Take care of yourself.